Not everyone who smiles loves you. We live in a world where appearances often deceive, where the warmest smile can hide the coldest heart, and where the very people we trust the most may secretly be the ones who carry the sharpest knives. Some wear masks of kindness, offering sweet words and gentle gestures, but behind those masks lies an intention that is far from pure. They don't come to you with horns or with fire in their eyes. No, they come softly, carefully, presenting themselves as safe, as supportive, as loyal. Yet slowly, almost without you realizing, they begin to plant seeds, seeds of doubt, seeds of fear, seeds of division. Think about it. Have you ever shared a dream, something close to your heart, and the response you received wasn't encouragement, but subtle discouragement? Perhaps it was wrapped in concern. I just don't want to see you get hurt. But the tone wasn't truly protective. It was limiting. Or maybe you've noticed how someone always seems to highlight your flaws more than your progress, disguising it as advice, when in truth, it was meant to shrink your confidence. That is how these hidden forces operate, not through open destruction, but through quiet erosion. When someone smiles at you, it feels good. It lowers your guard. It makes you believe they are with you for you. But smiles can be tools of deception. A smile can cover jealousy. A smile can hide resentment. A smile can conceal the intent to manipulate. And when you mistake that smile for love, you may allow that person access to your mind and your heart, unaware of the damage being done. It is not the stranger on the street who often causes the deepest wounds. It is the familiar voice, the trusted hand, the family member, or the friend who you thought would never betray you. That is why discernment is so critical. You cannot afford to judge people by the surface alone. Words can charm, smiles can disarm, but energy never lies. Pay attention to how you feel after an encounter. Do you leave uplifted, or do you leave drained? Do you feel clarity, or do you feel confusion? Do you sense peace, or do you sense tension gnawing at you? Those emotions are signals, and if you ignore them, you risk letting those masked influences take root in your life. Some people enter your space not to water your growth, but to poison your soil. They come with friendliness, yet over time, you notice division creeping in division between you and your purpose. Division between you and your confidence. Sometimes even division between you and the people who truly love you. And the frightening thing is that it happens so subtly that you may not recognize it until much has already been lost. This is why vigilance is not paranoia. It is wisdom. You see, protecting your peace means understanding that not everyone who has access to you deserves it. Not every voice should be trusted. Not every smile should be believed. Love is not proven by appearances. It is proven by consistency. Real love does not plant fear in your heart. Real love does not celebrate your failures in secret. Real love does not compete with your growth. Real love is not threatened by your purpose. Anything less than that is not love. It is disguise. So when you meet those smiles that seem warm, but your spirit feels a chill, pay attention. When you hear words that sound supportive, but something within you senses manipulation, listen to that voice inside. When you find yourself questioning your worth, your path, or your decisions more after being with certain people, consider what seeds are being sown. Protecting your peace requires that you are honest about who truly stands with you and who simply stands near you. It is better to stand alone in truth than to stand surrounded by smiles that hide deception. Because a smile can fool the eyes, but it can never fool the spirit. Words are powerful, but words can also lie. People can say all the right things, and still, their presence tells another story. This is why you must learn to discern energy, not just words. Because words may flatter, they may convince, they may soothe, but the spirit behind those words never hides for long. When someone steps into your space, they bring more than conversation. They bring an atmosphere. And if you pay close attention, that atmosphere reveals who they truly are. Think about it. How many times have you been in a room with someone who said nothing offensive, yet you left feeling heavy, drained, or unsettled? They didn't curse you, they didn't insult you, but something about their presence disturbed your peace. That's not your imagination, that's discernment. The human spirit is sensitive, and it picks up what words try to cover. A person can smile and call you friend, but if every time you see them your joy decreases, your confidence shrinks, or your mind feels clouded, it is not friendship. It is spiritual interference. Demons don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper through false kindness. Sometimes they hide in confusion. Sometimes they cloak themselves in charm, but their energy tells on them. You'll notice that after talking to them, your focus is weaker, your clarity is gone, and your peace feels disturbed. This is no accident. Darkness carries weight, and when someone is carrying it, that weight presses on you too. That is why you can't just rely on what comes out of a person's mouth. You must feel the atmosphere they bring into your life. On the other hand, pay attention to the people who carry light. Around them, you feel free. You feel hopeful. You feel seen and encouraged. They don't even need to say much. Their presence itself brings calm and strength. That is what alignment feels like. Notice the difference, because your spirit is already telling you what your ears cannot always hear. There are some who speak of love but radiate envy. There are some who talk about loyalty but emit insecurity and competition. There are some who promise support but carry an energy that quietly undermines your confidence. If you ignore those signals, you'll end up trapped in relationships that erode your spirit little by little, all while you tell yourself, but they never said anything wrong. Listen to me, it's not just about what they say, it's about what they bring. Confusion is another sign. Have you noticed how certain people leave you questioning yourself? Before they arrived, you were clear about your decisions, your direction, your worth. But after interacting with them, suddenly doubt creeps in. Suddenly, you're unsure, hesitant, insecure. That's not coincidence. That's influence. Chaos does not come from those who are walking in truth. Chaos comes from those who are carrying something destructive. And if you welcome that energy unchecked, it will settle into your life like a storm cloud that never leaves. You must protect yourself by being bold enough to acknowledge what you feel, even when you cannot yet explain it. If someone's presence consistently steals your peace, you don't need more evidence than that. If their energy leaves you anxious or drained, you don't need to justify why. Your spirit is wiser than your logic, and it often sees what your eyes cannot. This is not about living in fear of people, but about living in awareness of spirits. You are not just flesh and blood. You are spirit, and spirit recognizes spirit. Some connections lift you closer to your purpose, while others pull you further from it. Don't ignore the pull. Don't dismiss the heaviness. Don't explain away the confusion. Energy reveals truth. Remember this: words can deceive, but energy never lies. Toxic behavior is not something to take lightly. It is not just bad manners. It is not simply immaturity, and it is not always innocent misunderstanding. Toxic behavior is spiritual poison. It looks small at first, but it seeps into the soul, and if you don't recognize it for what it is, it begins to contaminate your peace, your focus, and even your purpose. Gossip, manipulation, envy, control. These are not just habits of difficult people. These are spiritual attacks, subtle weapons aimed at breaking your spirit from the inside out. Take gossip, for example. It never seems dangerous in the beginning. It disguises itself as casual talk, just a little story here and there. But gossip is not harmless. It is a seed of division. When someone is comfortable speaking about others to you, sooner or later, they will be comfortable speaking about you to others. And gossip plants distrust. It destroys unity, and it poisons the way you view the people in your life. A single whispered lie can break relationships, tear families apart, and corrupt entire communities. That is not just talk. That is a spiritual toxin designed to separate what was meant to be together. Manipulation is another poison, and it is far more dangerous than it looks. Manipulators know how to wrap chains in ribbons. They convince you that their control is care, that their dominance is love, and that their restrictions are protection. But in truth, manipulation is slavery. It traps your freedom of choice, it cages your voice, and it makes you question your own instincts until you are no longer living your own life. You are living theirs. That is not friendship. That is not love. That is not family. That is a spiritual attack against your independence and your destiny. And then there is envy. Envy is one of the most corrosive poisons because it hides so well. Someone can smile at your success while secretly resenting your growth. They can clap for you in public but plot against you in private. Envy doesn't want what you have. It wants you not to have it. It wants to see you fall, not because you did anything wrong, but because your rise reminds them of their own stagnation. And if you keep envious people close, they will do whatever it takes to dim your light, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence, sometimes with actions so subtle you don't see the hand behind the sabotage. Control, too, is toxic in ways that go deeper than simple authority. Control is when someone makes themselves the center of your decisions, when they silence your voice to amplify theirs, when they dictate how you should live, think, or move, not for your good, but for their comfort. That is not leadership, that is bondage, and it does more than limit your freedom. It suffocates your peace, because every time you allow someone else's control to override your instincts, you trade your clarity for confusion and your confidence for fear. These toxic behaviors may look ordinary, but they are spiritual poison. They work slowly, dripping into your life one drop at a time until suddenly you find yourself weakened, doubting, exhausted, and unable to recognize yourself. They don't come in one big attack, because that would be too obvious. They come in whispers, in little compromises, in moments where you let something slide because that's just how they are. But every time you tolerate poison, it spreads. You must remember that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is survival. Allowing gossip, manipulation, envy, or control into your life unchecked is like drinking water you know is contaminated and expecting to stay healthy. Your spirit is not designed to thrive in toxic soil. If you allow poison to remain in your environment, eventually it will become part of you. And when your peace is gone, when your clarity is blurred, when your joy is stolen, the battle becomes harder to win. So be vigilant. Call poison what it is. Don't excuse it. Don't normalize it. Don't convince yourself it is harmless. If it is gossip, cut it off. If it is manipulation, break free. If it is envy, create distance. If it is control, take back your authority over your own life. You owe it to yourself, to your purpose, and to your peace to refuse spiritual poison in any form. Because toxic behavior may come disguised as love, loyalty, or care, but in truth, it is nothing less than a weapon against your soul. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are sacred armor designed to protect what is most valuable within you. Too often, we are made to believe that saying no is an act of selfishness, that setting limits means you don't care enough, that choosing your peace means you are rejecting others. But the truth is, boundaries are not rejection, they are protection. They are not about pushing people away. They are about guarding your heart, your mind, and your spirit from being consumed by destructive influence. Think of it like this. No one questions the importance of a lock on their front door. No one apologizes for securing their home at night. You lock your door not because you hate the world, but because you love what is inside. Your life, your peace, your purpose, your clarity. These are treasures, and boundaries are the locks that keep them safe. When you leave your door wide open to anyone, day or night, you cannot be surprised when unwanted things enter. The same principle applies to your spirit. Without boundaries, anything and anyone has free access, and not everyone who enters comes with good intentions. There are people who will drain you because they know you will never say no. There are voices that will manipulate you because they know you will always stay quiet to keep the peace. There are influences that will take advantage of your love, your kindness, your time, because you've never drawn the line that says, this far and no further. Boundaries are not about being unkind. They are about being wise. If you do not set them, people will set them for you, and they will always set them to benefit themselves, not to protect you. Saying no can feel heavy at first, especially if you are used to pleasing people. It can make you feel guilty, as if you've let someone down, but understand this. Every no to something destructive is a yes to your peace. Every no to manipulation is a yes to your freedom. Every no to draining relationships is a yes to your energy and purpose. Boundaries are not about choosing selfishness. They are about choosing survival. Some will test your boundaries. They will call you distant, cold, or ungrateful when you refuse to let them take advantage of you. That is because boundaries expose motives. When someone benefits from your lack of boundaries, they will be offended when you finally build them. But let that offense reveal the truth. Real love respects boundaries. Real friends honor your limits. Real family understands when you need space to protect your peace. If someone cannot handle your boundaries, it is not because you are wrong. It is because their intentions were never right. Guarding your heart and mind requires courage. It is easier to give in, to stay quiet, to keep saying yes, just to avoid conflict. But what does that cost you? It costs your joy. It costs your clarity. It costs your purpose. Every time you allow someone to cross a line that you know should have been drawn, you hand over a piece of your peace. And when all those pieces are gone, you are left empty, resentful, and exhausted. That is why you must learn to stand firm, even when it feels uncomfortable. Boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. They keep you whole. They keep you aligned. They keep you strong enough to continue your journey without being torn apart by those who do not value your spirit. When you understand this, you stop apologizing for your boundaries. You stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself. You stop explaining why your peace matters. You simply live in a way that honors the gift of your life and refuses to let it be destroyed by careless hands. So remember this: saying no is not rejection, it is protection. It is the armor that keeps your heart, your mind, and your spirit safe from harm. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not passivity. Peace is not avoidance. Peace is a spiritual weapon, sharper than anger and stronger than retaliation. The enemy thrives on conflict. Demons feed on chaos. They stir drama because drama is the oxygen that keeps them alive. But when you refuse to be dragged into it, when you choose stillness instead of strife, you suffocate their influence. You starve their power. You disarm them without even lifting a hand. Think about how easily conflict escalates when you give it attention. Someone throws an insult, and if you respond with fire, the flames grow. Someone spreads lies, and if you chase after every rumor to defend yourself, you end up drained and distracted. Someone provokes you, and if you let anger take over, you lose your clarity and they gain control. But when you choose peace, when you decide that not every battle deserves your energy, suddenly the strategy of the enemy fails. Because peace is not silence, it is authority. It is the strength to say, I will not let this chaos enter my spirit. Peace protects your mind. In the heat of conflict, it's easy to think thoughts you wouldn't normally think, to say words you can't take back, to make choices that lead you further from your purpose. That's exactly what darkness wants, to lure you into a state where your emotions lead and your wisdom is silence. But peace anchors you. It keeps your mind clear even in the middle of provocation. It allows you to see manipulation for what it is, to recognize bait without taking it, and to step back when the enemy is trying to drag you forward into destruction. Peace is also contagious. When you carry peace, it affects the atmosphere around you. People who come with negativity suddenly have no place to plant their chaos. People who come with drama realize they cannot stir you. People who come with confusion find no entry point. Peace creates an environment where toxicity cannot survive. And the beauty of it is this: you don't have to fight every attack when you carry peace. Sometimes your calmness is the very weapon that ends the battle before it begins. Some may mistake your peace for weakness, as if choosing not to argue means you are incapable of defending yourself. But peace is not cowardice. It is control. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can throw words around recklessly. Anyone can fight back when provoked. But it takes true strength to stand still, to keep your spirit unshaken, to refuse to let darkness dictate your response. That kind of restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. The enemy knows that if he can take your peace, he can take your focus. And if he takes your focus, he can derail your purpose. That is why you must guard peace as if it were treasure. Protect it from unnecessary arguments. Protect it from petty disputes. Protect it from manipulative conversations that seek to entangle you. Protect it from people who thrive on keeping you off balance. Because once you lose your peace, you lose the clarity that keeps you aligned with your calling. Peace is also resistance. The enemy expects you to react with fear, with anger, with retaliation. But when you meet hostility with calmness, you are resisting his tactics in the most powerful way. He cannot control someone who refuses to play the game. He cannot manipulate someone who chooses quiet strength over loud reaction. He cannot win against someone who knows that peace is more powerful than rage. So understand this. You don't need to attend every argument you are invited to. You don't need to prove yourself in every situation. You don't need to fight battles that are designed only to drain you. Sometimes the greatest victory is found in stillness, in keeping your spirit untouchable, in refusing to let the storm outside create a storm inside. That is the weapon of peace. It doesn't just protect you, it defeats what was sent to destroy you. Because every time you choose peace over chaos, you starve the demons of power. Prayer and discernment are not optional tools, they are lifelines. They are the lamps that reveal what hides in the shadows, the keys that unlock what is concealed, the shield that protects against what the eye cannot see. When you align with truth, deception cannot remain covered. Darkness always trembles under light, and prayer partnered with discernment is the kind of light that cannot be extinguished. Deception thrives in silence, in secrecy, in blindness. It counts on you to take words at face value, to trust appearances, to believe that what is shown is all that exists. But prayer opens your eyes. It awakens your spirit to see beyond the natural. You begin to notice the tone behind the words, the spirit behind the actions, the intention behind the smile. Prayer sharpens discernment, and discernment shines a spotlight on motives that would otherwise remain hidden. There are people who will present themselves as helpers while secretly plotting harm. There are relationships that look healthy on the surface but carry manipulation at the root. There are opportunities that appear golden but are designed as traps. Without prayer, these things look safe. Without discernment, they look appealing. But once you align with truth, you begin to sense the difference. You recognize the unease in your spirit when something is not right. You catch the inconsistency between what someone says and what their presence actually brings. You see the crack in the mask they wear. That is discernment, truth breaking through illusion. Have you ever felt that inner nudge, that quiet warning that told you not to trust a situation? Logic said it made sense, words sounded convincing, but something deep inside whispered, "Be careful." That was discernment, and the more you cultivate it through prayer, the louder and clearer it becomes. The enemy cannot fool a heart that stays connected to truth. Lies lose their power when you learn to hear beyond words. Prayer not only reveals deception, it also strengthens you to act on what you see. Because sometimes the hardest part is not recognizing darkness. It's walking away from it. It is easy to cling to familiar relationships even when you sense manipulation. It is tempting to hold on to opportunities that glitter even when your spirit tells you they are false. But prayer gives courage. Prayer gives clarity. Prayer equips you to not just see the truth, but to choose it, even when it costs you comfort. Discernment is also a protection for your peace. You no longer have to exhaust yourself trying to figure out every person's motives, because the light of truth does the work for you. You don't need to chase lies, because discernment reveals them. You don't need to fear hidden agendas, because prayer uncovers them. You can walk with confidence knowing that even when people try to disguise their intentions, they cannot disguise them from the light within you. And here is the most powerful part. When you carry discernment, deception often reveals itself without you saying a word. People with hidden motives will feel uncomfortable in your presence because the truth in you exposes the darkness in them. You don't have to confront everything directly. Sometimes simply standing in alignment with truth forces masks to fall off. Darkness cannot stay comfortable around light. This is why you must guard your connection with prayer. It keeps your discernment sharp. It keeps your vision clear. It keeps you aligned so that lies cannot penetrate your peace. When your spirit is tuned to truth, nothing can manipulate you for long. You may be fooled for a moment, but you will not remain blind, because the light will always reveal what is hidden. So do not fear deception. Do not fear hidden motives. Do not fear the masks people wear. Stay rooted in prayer, sharpen your discernment, and trust that truth will always find its way to the surface. Because when you align with truth, deception cannot hide. Guard your heart, guard your peace, and never forget that not every smile is love, not every word is truth. When you walk with discernment, set boundaries, and refuse to be poisoned by toxicity, you become untouchable. Stay rooted in prayer, carry peace as your weapon, and let the light within you expose every hidden darkness.